So Gary, we talked a little bit about the challenge of this point in the schedule and getting these cars essentially, not necessarily the cars, you go from a road course car to an oval car, but for the teams it's a big challenge. You go 3 races in 3 weeks back.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are on the road. We're Vallee-Jonction, then we're up to Chaudiere, then GPR, then ICAR, then CTM. You can't put a foot wrong here. You've got to execute as a team.
Fans have come out in droves for sure. When we come back, we will take a look at some of the drivers we will be focused on as we continue to count down to green here at the start of the Bloodline 250.
Ça va être bon cette histoire-là, il n'y a aucun doute là-dessus. L'appel de la télévision avant de poursuivre le déroulement.
And there you can see the preparations underway for the start of 250 laps of action here at Autodrome Chaudiere in Vallee-Jonction, Quebec. When we return, we will fire the engines here on the front straightaway and bring you all the action live here on Rev TV. And welcome back to Autodrome Chaudiere in Vallee-Jonction, Quebec, just outside of Quebec City. The drivers are in, they're strapped in, and most importantly, we are ready for those famous words in motorsports. We talk about butterflies for the drivers, and that's where you start to feel them, isn't it, Gary?
You certainly do. You certainly do. This is going to be some serious battle here. And just because you know how racy this track is, you know that you're going to be have to be digging and, you know, really putting in best effort every lap.
And the thing is, it's a halfway break race. So we know there is going to be caution at or around the halfway mark. the drivers will be able to come in, take 2 tires, but there's going to be no hurry there. Then you make your tweaks for the dash to the end.
Yeah, so you really want to be thinking about how your car is behaving in that first half of the race, and you want to have really good information for your crew chief, and hopefully you get a really good set of tires for the second half of the race.
Needs to be matched perfectly, but yeah, just 2 is going to make it a handful, because drivers have to be aware in the first half you do have to save your general tires at least a little bit.
Yeah, with these general tires, the tire management is important. You can spin the rear tires coming off of every corner if you want to, but that's not going to make the car live. So you've got to be disciplined out there.
You see the crews being cleared off the track. The paddock area, if you've never been here to Autodrome Chaudiere, where all the trailers are parked just off of corner number 4, and that's where we will see the cars file into for that halfway break.
Give me a 10.
Trackside
I want to throw it
as we prepare for the most
Here we go.
famous
Here we go.
in motorsport.
Chaudiere de Vallee-Jonction. Mesdames et messieurs, monsieur André Larue.
The end result is the same. The engines fire and come to life here at Autodrome Chaudiere as we get set to bring you the Bud Light 250 and get these cars rolling on a decent afternoon. There's not a lot of sunshine, cloud cover, but it's nice and warm, and you can see the fans have come out in droves.
Yeah, you're super excited to see all the fans out there, and you're also super excited as a racer to see that the sun isn't beaming down on you, making it a stinking hot day.
That does take its toll on some of the drivers when it is pretty warm, but today will be sort of a beautiful sort of early fall, late summer day here for a race, and you can see Donald Teege is your pole sitter in the 80. He will be the one to lead him off. Probably one of the more surprising aspects is the fact that the 39 of Alex Gannett is going to restart or starts on the outside of the front row.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's just been better and better each time he goes out. He's getting more experienced, more mature, and he's a threat at every race.
He is. He's raced twice so far in 2025. At CTMP, he opened the season with a top 5 finish, and then he followed that up with a second place finish at Calabogie. 2 pretty difficult tracks, but then you get onto an oval, so a little bit just different discipline.
Yeah, and he's no stranger to ovals. He's raced a whole ton down south. He's raced a whole ton in Quebec, and yeah, he's going to be a guy to watch.
Yeah, and then you see the 2 GM Paillet cars just in behind. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the number 96, and last year's winner in the 27, Andrew Ranger. As the field starts to cycle around, everybody did fire up okay, so that's good news. All 17 cars here in the NASCAR Canada Series field at Autodrome Chaudiere set to do battle again. 250 laps for the Bud Light 250. We'll take you through the rest of the starting lineup. We talked about Teege, Gannett, Cameron, Matthew Kingsbury in the 9 will roll off in 4th, I should say. Andrew Ranger, last year's winner, in the 11th spot for a starting position. Maxime Gauvreau in the 97, the rookie, will start in 5th. Then it's LeBay, Vargas, and LaRue with Dave Corsol and Kevin Lacroix, another struggle, you could say, in qualifying. He'll roll off in 10th.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just missed again in qualifying. With these general tires, you get 1, maybe 2 laps to set that qualifying time, and if you are too conservative on one and too greedy on another, you find yourself deeper in the field than you would have liked.
Ranger will start 11th. Then it's LP Dumoulin, DJ Kennington, Dexter Stacey back in the field in the EHR prepared car, the number 3. And then Larry Jackson, Simon Zion-Vienne, and JF Dumoulin will round out the 17 starters here today. Talk a little bit about that 3 car, because you raced against it just a week ago at Calabogie Motorsport Park, not with Dexter Stacey behind the wheel, but with Connor Bell. But you know that team is coming ready to play. Yeah,
that team, they've been at it for years and years and years. They're a well-oiled machine, and they executed super well, and Connor Bell did a great job last weekend.
And Dexter Stacey, a veteran of the NASCAR Canada Series, stepped away from it for a little while. Back to do battle here today. But it's Donald Teege and Alex Gannett as the pace car pulls in, looking for the start here in the Bud Light 250. The green is up and we are underway.
We got Gannett all kinds of sideways, and he's still leading right now. Up in that high line, coming back down, and he'll lead lap 1.
There it just goes to show you the two grooves that are very capable here around this quarter-mile surface. You have up to 18 degrees of banking usable here at this track, and Alex Gannett is going to try and lean on those right side tires up on the outside as Kingsbury slides into third. Good start for the Jura King, number 9.
Look at how high Gannett is. Oh, he's got a problem. He's off.
Gannett pulls off in turn number 3, headed towards the paddock. So problems for the Bet GRW number 39.
And he pulled back down.
Did, yeah.
I assume his crew sent him back out saying, hey, we're not ready. You know, just go try and run some laps, see what you can do out there, try and diagnose the problem, and we'll let you know when you got to come back.
Yeah, the engine is still running, so that's important on the 39. He's about half a track behind now, your race leader, Donald Teege. So that red number 80, the Gatawa Construction backed entry, is your race leader, followed by Matthew Kingsbury, who has a series best 4th place finish at Montmagny back in 2024. He's looking to better that here today and looking good in the early going.
Yeah, he's another guy who's shown really well this season, just gaining more and more experience, more and more time in these cars, and look at him sitting up there in second.
Well, it's funny because these two drivers at the front of the field have done battle against each other quite a bit, but behind the wheel of late model cars in the ACT series here in Quebec. So they know each other, they know this place as well, and that's important. So the field starting to stretch out just a little bit. It won't get too stretched out here. That's not the way this track usually plays out. But Donald Teege continues to click off laps at the front, just ahead of Matthew Kingsbury and Alex Labbé in the Lucier number 36. That is a driver that is a bit of a long shot we were going to watch here today. And Labbé, of course, does have a win here at Autodrome Chaudiere and a championship to his credit. And he's got some laps, just not necessarily in this car this year.
Yeah, he's got a whole ton of laps. He's got so much seat time running the Xfinity car when he can, even running a truck at Lime Rock recently. He works on this car. He knows this track like the back of his hand. He's going to be a guy to watch. He certainly has the long run in mind. I imagine that car is going to come alive near the end of this race. Teamed
up with Dominic Lucier, who is a car owner in the Dirt Modified series here in Quebec. And that team came out to Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières among several events last year and had some pretty good showings, but it's really the driver who makes that car really work. Alex Labbé is such a smart driver at the wheel of that Chevrolet.
Yeah, he gets what he can out of every car that he's in, and many different cars that he's in. Yeah, like you mentioned, GP3R, he ended up second last year.
Great view from the drone over top of this quarter-mile track. There you see the bright yellow Sparling propane-backed Dodge of Larry Jackson. That's one of the side-by-side battles that we have around the track, but at the front it's starting to pick up, and Kingsbury crossways off of 4 as he tries to pinch that car down and get underneath your race leader. Kingsbury really wants the lead.
Absolutely, and why wouldn't he? He's as close as he's ever really been. He's got a great car. He's going to try and get everything he can out of this short run here.
Bunch of late model drivers in the front of the pack. You've got Donald Teege, you've got Matthew Kingsbury, and then you look back to third. Labbé's got some laps in a late model here, and then even further back, Will LaRue and Maxime Gauvreau in the 97, all late model drivers, all behind the wheel of a NASCAR Canada Series car as Labbé starts to move to the inside, and I think he did a little moving of Matthew Kingsbury.
Maybe ever so gently. Kingsbury looks like he's going to the outside there, and the 36 car, Labbé's car, looks like it's so good on the bottom there, and he'll just be patient. He's not going to put the nose to him just yet.
That's not necessarily moving somebody. That's just giving them a little help.
Exactly.
So, you see, side by side there, DJ Kennington moves to the inside of LP Dumoulin, and That's a big move because DJ Kennington comes into this one second in points, just 9 points back of your leader, Marc-Antoine Cameron. LP Dumoulin is only a handful of points behind him in fourth, so it is very tight at the front of the field when you look at the overall championship in the NASCAR Canada Series here in 2025.
Yeah, this is going to be some great championship racing. You see all those three guys you just mentioned there, all within a couple of cars of each other, and they're not going to want to let each other out of their sights all day.
A battle between the 36 and the 9 really has let Donald Teach stretch out a bit of a gap. Now it's about 5 car lengths at the front of the field, but Kingsbury, after really heating up those General tires for a few laps, is deciding to use that outside lane, go a little bit easier on them, and save them for the long run, because strategy does come into play here. It is a brake race. You have that one yellow flag coming on or around lap 150, but you're only allowed 2 tires.
Yeah, you have to look after those other 2, and you're certainly using that left rear here and the left front. You've got to use all 4 tires if you're going to be the race winner here.
Difference at the front last time by about 0.6 of a second. That's the lead that the 80 has built up over Matthew Kingsbury, and then there you can see the gap back between second and third. It is not very much, but things happen very quickly, and you can see the laps clicking off very, very quickly here, as we're 28 laps already in the books of a scheduled 250 here at Autodrome Chaudiere. But what a unique track this is. It's tight but racy. You've got a lot of banking to work with, but it's progressive. The farther you get up, the more banking you have to use.
Yeah, you can really use, great shot exactly there. You can really use the top of corner 3 and 4, and then you can really wind out the car onto the front straight because the front straight is so banked.
Simon Dion involved in that battle with Larry Jackson and Dexter Stacey towards the tail of that field. That's the 3-car grouping you saw. But now look, LeVay, he cooled it off a little bit. Now he's diving back to the inside, as is Ryan Vargas in the critical path security number 28. So Vargas trying to move his way into the top 5 underneath Maxime Gauvreau. We got side-by-side for second, side-by-side for fifth.
And you've got Gannett still, he did not pit. He's running second from the back there, and he's just making laps. I wonder if the problem resolved himself. I don't know what that was.
Now, it could have been an ignition box problem, and again, we don't have exactly what the reason is. We'll get our Todd Lewis to work on that, potentially get us that information, but possibly pop down pit lane, switch ignition boxes, and maybe that helps.
Well, he didn't even pit. He went up and he's still back on the track. So he's making laps clearly at enough of a pace where his team's saying, hey, stay out there, try and make it to the halfway break for whatever problem you have.
Or at least to a caution. Hopefully he gets a caution. And right now he's on the lead lap. So that's the important part, as Will LaRue has now caught this battle for second spot. The 45. Definitely a threat in this one. This is, again, one of these drivers that we're keeping an eye on. Just young and oozes talent. Yeah,
he's been fast on every outing. You see there, the 9 is driving it really hard. He had to kind of park it there to make that car turn there, and then the 36 got underneath him.
But Will LaRue sort of doing the opposite of what the 36 of LeBay is doing. LeBay's using that bottom groove, almost laying it up against the curbing to the inside of the track. Will LaRue's the middle of that second groove up into that second groove, so he is using that outside line and finding speed out there too.
Yeah, he's certainly able to roll a lot more speed through the corners than the 36 there. He looks like the best of those 3.
Captain Highliner himself up in the outside groove. That's Andrew Ranger. Quick shot of him battling with DJ Kennington in a dice for 9th and 10th, about 5.5 seconds back of your race leader, which we should remind you is the 80 of Donald Teach, and he is getting away. Now 1.6 seconds at the front of the field, but how much longer? If Will LaRue can cut through this traffic, he has got a rocket ship underneath him today.
Yeah, that car looks really, really good. A little bit less happy on the bottom than he was running the top, but he's making good progress here on the 9. We'll see if he can get past him, and then we'll see what kind of pace he has for the 80.
You can find where your favorite driver is running by looking at the ticker across the top of your screen, brought to you by WeatherCheck, the Duro King number 9. started inside the top 5, and he's having a great outing, sitting in second spot. There's your race leader, the red number 80 of Donald Teach, and you saw the gap back to second, but look at Gannett. He's managed to get around Simon Ziovien. There is nothing wrong with that Bet GRW number 39 as he gets into the door of the 84 of Larry Jackson.
And as racy as this track is, it's got to be a little bit frustrating for guys trying to pass, because you're up on the high line and you get to the bottom of the guy and you can't just complete the pass like you would at an Edmonton or a Saskatoon. The guy at the high line has a whole ton of speed.
And let's bring in our Todd Lewis, who is standing by with the first of today's Pinty's Pit Reports. Todd? Oh, we got... And that is Maxime Gauvreau, Todd, the 97, as you mentioned, off in 1 and 2. No wall up there, but it is a berm. You can see a flat left rear tire for the driver of the 97 out of Belle-Isle, Quebec, and he is stuffed into that berm. He'll need a tow for sure.
Yeah, it looks like that tire just went down and he was along for the ride, and now that car is definitely beached. And is that the 96 that is parked?
That appears to be the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, your points leader in the GM Paillet Chevrolet. He is parked up on the outside of turn number 4, and that is notable because he is your points leader coming into this event. That is a big, big sign here today of trouble for that team, and that'll be a big problem if he can't get it going again.
Yeah, he's currently, I think he's going laps down.
Laps continue to count under caution here in the NASCAR Canada Series as Maxime Gauvreau, the driver that brought out this caution, again stuffed into there we're going to see it going backwards a little bit. Here's it in forward motion. Yeah, the tire's already down. You called it. Left rear tire goes down on the turn into turn number 1. You really don't have much chance there, do you?
No, and frankly, he's lucky he just missed the wall there, and that car isn't completely destroyed.
Unfortunately, couldn't get moving, and we are under caution, but we're going to keep an eye on the 96 who stopped on the entrance of turn number 3 as well. That is Marc-Antoine Cameron. And I believe we have Todd Lewis standing by with a quick update. So, Todd, what do you got?
Wall. Looks like both are paying the price for that contact.
Looks like the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron able to roll, though, so it doesn't appear to be any tires down. And now the crew is going to have to run to him. It's sort of a paddock pit lane combination here at Autodrome Chaudiere, and you see the crew has to push him all the way back to at or near their trailer in order to get whatever's wrong with that car diagnosed. And it's going to be, there you see the 96 on the trailer, so that's where they have to push that car back to. And at this point, it's not running.
Oh yeah, this is possibly the worst feeling a driver can have here. Cameron sitting in that car watching his team push the car back to the trailer, and you know he's going laps down, and the championship is his championship lead is evaporating.
Now, Marc-Antoine Cameron, the winner here in 2023, defending series champion is Marc-Antoine Cameron, and again, the series leader coming into this one. So DJ Kennington, who came into this race just 9 points out of the series lead, who is still in the fray. He's not necessarily up towards the front end of the field, sitting just outside the top 10. There's another good look at Maxime Gauvreau, the reason for this caution after contact with the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. But he goes into the outside barrier, and the crew going to work on the right side of the 96. So potentially some suspension damage or driveline damage on this GM Paillet backed entry. Not a good sign when you see jack stands going underneath the race car, especially this early in the race. So the cleanup crew goes to work, And Maxime Gauvreau will require, he's not getting out of that car, so he's not ready to give up the fight just yet, as he will get a tow out of the berm in turn number 1 and get that left rear tire changed. But he will be many, many laps down when we do go back to green.
No, you never want to get out of the car until someone tells you have to.
See, the window net is down to indicate to the NASCAR officials that he's A-OK. But yeah, the rookie here in the NASCAR Canada Series, who has a career best finish of 6 coming at Riverside Speedway last year, 2024. He made limited starts last year, making 4 of them, including 1 here at Autodrome Chaudiere. And it looks like the spring is out in the right rear corner of the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Again, another driver who is still in that car. The window net's still up, so looking to possibly get out and complete some laps and keep that points lead potentially. Let's take a quick break. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on Rev TV. Hello and welcome back to the Bud Light 250 live on Rev TV from Autodrome Chaudiere, just outside of Quebec City. We are under caution, and it is for this reason. Maxime Gauvreau up on the outside and Marc-Antoine Cameron down low. This is off at turn number 4, and there's the contact, or possibly just before the contact happens. But essentially, oh, there it is. You can see Gauvreau gets to the outside wall, so not much room between them. The left rear tire goes down at that point, and the driver of the 97 is along for the ride.
Yeah, the 97's along for the ride, and clearly something broke in the rear end of the 96 there. You can see the left rear just jammed up into the body of the car. Yeah, he's got problems.
Yeah, so that's why the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron stopped up in turn number 3, and there you can see the crew trying to pull that rear end back in line. Cameron is still in that car. The window net is still up. He's not giving up in this fight. So he's hoping the crew can get it good enough that he can go and salvage some points for this day.
Yeah, he's not going to get out until he is mathematically sure that he's not going to gain a single point out there.
And you have an update, too, on Alex Gannett, one of the stories that we'd been following since the drop of the initial green.
Yeah, we thought Gannett had a problem off the start there. He was leading right away, but it turns out he got a black flag for jumping the start. So it was a little bit of a miscommunication with him, whether he was to go into the pits or if he was to drop back. He dropped back to the back of the field, and now he's he's coming back, and he's probably just cruising, saving his tires, waiting for this caution and the halfway break.
Yeah, so he does have a fast car in the Bet GRW number 39. That is the WeatherTech.ca number 47 of LP Dumoulin. Problems for him potentially as he stopped here on the front straightaway. So he was not involved in anything. As a matter of fact, had a decent run going, just sitting outside the top 10. But there is a good look at Alex Guinnett. And as we reported, the Bet GRW number 39 had to head quickly towards the pit area to make a quick stop and go. Essentially drop back to the tail of the line is what he did. Lost almost half a track as a penalty for jumping the initial start, but it was working his way up through the field and currently sits outside the top 10. But Maxime Gauvreau is now out of the car in the 97. We turn our attention to LP Dumoulin, who's currently listed in 15th and stopped on the front straightaway and now many laps down.
Yeah, this is big points implications here, because you have Cameron leading the points, you have DJ second, and you have the 47 of Dumoulin third. Boy, DJ's got to be licking his chops, seeing his two competitors there having major problems.
Andrew Ranger is the driver in the middle there, and he's still on track, but you can see the stop number 47 and a little bit of fiberglass dust from the 97 of Maxime Gauvreau as the nose gets worn down here at Vallee-Jonction, Quebec, as the red flag comes out to get all of these vehicles cleaned off the track. While we have it under a red flag, we'll take a quick breath here. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on Rev TV. And welcome back to race number 6 of the 2025 NASCAR Canada Series. And what an eventful race it has been so far here at Autodrome Chaudiere. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me is Gary Clute. Todd Lewis is patrolling the pits for us here today. You can see the WeatherTech crew waiting for the 47 of LP Dumoulin to be pushed back to the pits. So we've had problems for the 96, your points leader, Marc-Antoine Cameron, currently in the pits getting worked on. You have the 47 being pushed back. Obviously problems on that car. He came into this race 4th in points. So this is a huge shakeup waiting to happen.
Yeah, and these guys are going to go to work. They're going to work their butts off here, and they've got to get him back out on the track again to salvage any points they can.
And right now, because the red flag was shown, it saved him a little bit. Now the caution is back out, and LP Dumoulin 14 laps down to your race leader, who is Donald Teege, and he's led since the initial, almost the initial drop of the green. Of course, a quick penalty to the 39 of Alex Guinnett as he went pit side before heading back into the pits. He's restarted, so back up to the right, back in the way. It's problem for a car deeper in the field, got very loose. I think it was Andrew Ranger. And caution is back out once again. No, it's not. Yes, it is. I was going to say I saw the yellow lights flashing, but everybody stayed up to speed on the front stretch. Now they're backing down on the back straightaway.
Yeah, sometimes you want to make sure. You want to really make sure the caution's out.
So we'll line them back up. I don't believe too many drivers switched places, but the pace car is back out. NASCAR will restack this field once again. But NASCAR has been racing here at Autodrome Chaudiere. It's a facility that was built and opened in 1992, first as a dirt track, then it was paved in 2005. And it attracts fans aplenty when NASCAR Canada Series comes to town. They've been lining up here since 8:30 this morning. But so far, they've been treated to a lengthy yellow session. And while we do have this breather, let's send it down pit side and check in with our Todd Lewis. Todd?
We'll give you a little bit of an update on the 47. Initially thought to be a shifter problem in getting the car to operate properly through the gears. Now they've got it up on jack stands just to see if that is exactly it, whether it's transmission related, whether it's driveline related. LP Dumoulin stays in the car. As Gary mentioned, you never know, there might be an opportunity to get some points, but now there's a frustrated LP Dumoulin trying to get his team to get that car back out as quickly as possible.
And there you have it. So for that 47 team, riding a bit of a wave of momentum coming into this race. Podium finish in Saskatoon, a podium finish in Calabogie. They were looking for big things here today.
They certainly were. He's run here really well historically, and then you've got to look at GP3R, his home race. He always runs well there. CTMP, historically he's run well there, and ICAR, so he was looking to have a whole ton of momentum, and yeah, this is tough for him.
Yeah, especially with problems to the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron in the early going, so you think you might have an opportunity. There's the 17, the Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington. So again, he's sitting just inside the top 10, hanging around the top 10, and LB Dumoulin does make it back out, although he is several laps down, and when we say several, he's 18 laps down to your race leader as it sits right now. So DJ Kennington, as it sits right now, him and the driver just in front of him, Andrew Ranger, are right now rubbing their hands together saying today could be a very good points day.
Certainly. They are DJ sitting in that car, probably feeling like the cat who swallowed the canary there.
Don't count out the 74 of Kevin Lacroix as well. He had problems at Calabogie, dropped him down the points order a little bit. He's 5th, but he's right now 5th on the racetrack in that Valvoline number 74. As we head into the Pinty's restart zone, once again, we're back underway.
Great start for Kingsbury there. He's hanging tough on the outside, and he's not letting the 80 go. And wow, he's ahead of the 80 there.
Kingsbury using that second groove up on the outside. Donald Teach taking a little while to get the 80 car ramped back up. He had a significant lead of almost 2 seconds at the time of that caution. And now Kingsbury is fully in front by almost a car length, and now he does clear the 80, so he'll be able to drop down if he wants to. I'm not sure he does.
No, that high line is really working. As you see the 45 now sneak up beside the 80, and yeah, that car is really rolling fast through these corners. Everyone's going to take note here. The next caution, the next guy who's leading at the caution, he's probably going to pick the outside.
Will LaRue, as we mentioned before that caution period, one of those drivers who was really liking that outside groove, and he's from not far away, calls Quebec City, Quebec his hometown, and that's about a 40-minute drive from Vallee-Jonction, Quebec, just down the highway. And so lots of family and friends, and of course representing LaRue Industrial Snowblowers on that 45 car. To give you an idea, we talked about the talent that that young man possesses. He's made 3 NASCAR Canada Series starts, and he stepped on the podium for 2 of them.
Yeah, very, very impressive driver, and again, showing very well here. Now he's got command of second place.
Now Donald Teach will slide back into 3rd, so he was your race leader when we went back to green. The bottom groove not necessarily working as good as it was earlier on, but how much does this track change as the sun starts to set? The temperature cools off. Does it get better, or does it get worse? Does it get slippery for these drivers?
Yeah, it really depends. The track, I recall, does certainly change as the sun sets. It is one of those tracks that is very much affected by the sun. It gets beat on by the sun all day, and then you can see the lights there, and now the track is definitely changing.
I seen Gobro back out on the track. He required a tow to get back to the pits. They actually pulled the bumper back out too. New left rear tire. But again, he's dozens of laps down to your race leaders. Just good to see the driver in the 97 back out, again, turning laps and getting that experience. One driver we're keeping an eye on continues to be the 39 of Alex Gannett. He's now in a battle with the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. We take a look at this dice for the race lead as Kingsbury has some company in the 45 of Will LaRue, and it's really a four-car dice at the front of the field.
Yeah, Kingsbury's definitely up in the high line, and the 45 tries to get a nose even higher than him.
So there you see how he's able to use the increased banking. Up to 18 degrees here in the quarter mile at Autodrome Chaudiere, and he opened the door on the inside. Donald Teed says thank you very much, and he walks through almost, at least gets side by side, as Teed has found a second breath in the Catawba construction number 80.
Yeah, it looks like the 9 is kind of holding up the 80 and the 45 a little bit.
There's the 36 of Alex LeMay and the Lucier Chevrolet just in behind in fourth spot as he's lurking, waiting to see how this battle is going to play out. Don't count out Andrew Ranger inside the top 5 as well in the 27. Side by side for the race lead in through 1 and 2. Little donut on the door of the number 9 Duro King Chevrolet of Matthew Kingsbury, and that is courtesy of the right front of Donald Teej as they wrap just a little bit. Teej still trying to grab the inside, but look at how the battle has moved up from the curbing on the inside of the racetrack as they make contact again. They're running the middle of this racetrack, both of them are.
Yeah, everyone's fighting for that high line.
Matthew Kingsbury now will turn it down and gets hard into the 80 of Donald Teej. Caught that right front corner, and that's dangerous too because hit wheel to wheel like that, it quickly knocks the toe out.
Yeah, the 80 chased it up the racetrack a little bit there, and he's letting him go now a little bit. But man, he's got the 45 and the 36 hungry for that second spot.
Have a look at the right front of the 80 of Donald Teej. Is it just me, or is the front of the tire showing a lot more than the rear of the tire? And that's what we talk about the toe setting on this car. It's how straight the tires are pointed by comparison to the other. You want them ideally in parallel with each other. If you've got one knocked out, it makes it a handful.
Yeah, it's tough to see. It could be just the way that the nose is there, or him and the 9 could have jointly adjusted on that car.
Now he'll be looking for the halfway mark to readjust that right front corner, but the Catawba construction number 80 still in the mix here. Second place as he tries to hold off the 45 of Will LaRue. Your race leader continues to be the number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury from Blainville, Quebec. Again, his career best finish coming into this race was a 4th at Montmagny last year. His best finish here at Vallee-Jonction at Autodrome Chaudiere, a 14th way back in 2022. Look at LeBay. He seems to be the only one of the top runners who's able to really get it down to the inside. And that car is happy as a clam down there along the curbing. 1 and 2, he rides up a little bit on entry, but then tucks it right down, tidy on exit, right down to the inside.
Yeah, and he might just be, he's looking at the writing on the wall here a little bit. He could probably envision the 9 and the 80 getting together, and he could sneak along in the bottom and take them all.
He is a little bit quicker than your race leader, but when we say a little bit, it's a 14:08 for your race leader to a 14:06 for Alex LeBay, as now Will LaRue goes up, finds a 4th line in the LaRue Industrial Blowers, number 45. He really wants the extreme outside to try and make a run around both Kingsbury and Donald Teej.
Yeah, he's driving in deep there, and he's getting a great run off of 2 and 4.
This is the beauty of Autodrome Chaudiere. We talk a long time about the battle between Alex Labbé and Caden Lapsevich back in 2016. This is the kinds of battles that this track just breeds itself to seeing, and this is why the fans come out and pack the grandstands as early as 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you certainly, if you're a fan, can't be upset about this one. These guys have been side by side since the drop of the green flag.
LaRue tucked right up behind the Dura-King number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. Donald Teague still down low. It seems like he makes a run, he backs it up a little bit, cools off the General tires, and then tries to go at it again. A good look at the GM Paillet Chevrolet number 27 of Andrew Ranger. Ranger sitting in 5th spot, so he's not too far behind that 4-car battle for the race lead. He will be in the mix before this race is done, guaranteed.
Certainly, he's got clean air there. Everyone else is side by side. He's just trying to go where his car is happiest, and clearly it's up high.
You can see some of the field starting to stretch out right now as the top 5 all really opening up a gap on the rest of the field. There's a good look at the 39 of Alex Gannett. Started on the outside of the front row and incurred a penalty for jumping the initial green, and he's managed to come back halfway through the field. So his progress seems to have stalled a little bit at this point. He was in a battle with the 74 of Kevin Lacroix for a little bit. There you see Gannett in 9th. He's dropped in behind the 54 of Dave Coursol. Boy, this is a dice for the ages at the front, as now Teague again goes to the inside. In 3 and 4, they make contact. Matthew Kingsbury almost goes around. Now he does. He leaned hard on the 80, and Ranger gets in to the number 9 as well. 2 teammates making contact at the start-finish stripe, drawing the caution here on lap 111. Oh boy. Matthew Kingsbury is steamed in the cockpit of that Dura-King Chevrolet.
Yep, we're going to see what is on his mind here very shortly.
He's going to wave to Donald Teague, likely using one of all fingers, but he's going to let him know how unhappy he is at this point. Now he's calmed down a little bit. No doubt his crew chief and spotter on the radio telling him to slow down and just take a breath as Andrew Ranger stopped. He was in the top 5. He came into this race 3rd in points in the GM Paillet 27. We'll find out what's wrong with that car when we return. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series live from Autodrome Chaudiere here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the Bud Light 250 live on Rev TV. And what a race we have playing out here today. 2 of the leaders getting together. Matthew Kingsbury going around, but collecting the 27 of Andrew Ranger, who was 3rd in points coming into this one. Let's head down pit side and get a Pinty's pit report with Todd Lewis. Todd? Yeah, very much. The 27 of Andrew Ranger has managed to get going. He just needed a push. It looks like that car just stalled, unable to get it moving. But the problem is, lap or yellow flag laps do count, and so Ranger is 2 laps down to your race leader. Now, if we do get a caution, he will be in the free pass position, so he'll be able to get one of those 2 laps back and just salvage his day at this point, as it looks like the 47 of LP Dumoulin will be the free pass car right now in the WeatherTech Dodge. But look at the damage to the right side of the Garawa Construction number 80 of Donald Teach. And Gary, maybe you can tell us, what would a crew chief be looking at right there?
Well, I mean, again, it's hard to tell because it could be an optical illusion you're seeing with the right front off the body there, but you're trying to see if that right front is straight. And you know, there's no one who's in a better position to tell than the guy who's holding the steering wheel, saying, "Hey, steering wheel sideways," or "Actually, we're all good."
And there is why the damage on the Garawa Construction number 80. Contact with the DuraKing Chevrolet of Matthew Kingsbury off of turn number 4. So they touch tires. Kingsbury goes around, uses the 80 to stop himself for a little while, but then does a loop. And there you can see they're both just way up the racetrack, as both of them were using an outside groove, leaving that body open, but a touch to the right rear quarter of the 80 car of Donald Teach. It actually lifted that car up off the ground. So yeah, Teach is no doubt talking to his crew as we go back to green now. And back up to speed with Teach leading Will LaRue as those two continue to battle. And look at DJ Kennington, the Castrol Edge Dodge. All of a sudden, a clean race car and inside the top 5.
Oh, contact with the 39 further back in the field.
Whoa, we got a car around 2 in the middle of 3 and 4. You saw that quickly out of the bottom of the screen. No caution yet as we complete lap 122. Looks like that car was able to get going, so we avoid any full course cautions. We are coming up to the halfway break. That'll be on or around lap 125. But no doubt the NASCAR officials will be watching this battle at the front of the field between the 80 and the 45 as Will LaRue is all over the back of Donald Teach for your race lead.
Yeah, and Donald Teach is doing all he can to hang on to the outside there. He knows the 45 car. That car looks so good. That car looks way better on the outside, so the 80 is going to claim that outside line.
3 is not a crowd as Alex LeBay is going to join the party at the front as well in the 36. He's been using that inside groove, and he's been all by himself down there as well as Kennington and Corsol continue to round out the top 5. Lacroix, Larry Jackson having a great run in the 84. He qualified towards the tail, but working his way steadily forward as we hit the halfway mark. The cross flags indicating 125 laps in. So at any point now, the NASCAR officials will be surveying the field and seeing if there's any close battles, letting them settle out, and then we will see the halfway break, and the drivers will be called in for service and make any adjustments needed for the run to the end. But until they are satisfied with the way things are happening, they will keep the green flag out, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Will LaRue and the LaRue Industrial Blowers number 45. That Chevrolet has been very good. You can see it's still very clean. He hasn't been involved in much of the rough stuff as Donald Teach, as you can see from the Garawa Construction number 80, has the right side caved in. Interesting. I wonder how the exhaust pipes are affected by that as well, because if you pinch off the exhaust pipes, you risk losing horsepower.
Yeah, tough to see there if he's got the exhaust exiting underneath the car or out the side there.
The only good thing is at this track, horsepower is fun, but you don't necessarily need it as we hit the halfway break now. The caution coming out on lap 132 of a scheduled 250 here in the Bud Light 250, so the drivers will be able to fall single file, and then they will be called into their pit stalls. Will they get filled up with Gulf fuel, get some new General tires, but only a couple of them.
Yeah, you're only going to get right side tires here. You want to make sure those tires measure exactly how you want them to measure. And yeah, we're gonna see here after the break how everyone's car responds to those new tires.
Yeah, changes. Right now, as the driver, you're telling your crew what changes you want to make in that car. When we return, we'll take it through some of these pit stops as we hit the halfway break here in the Bud Light 250. You're watching NASCAR Canada Series here on Rev TV. And boy, what a battle it has been here at Autodrome Chaudiere for the Bud Light 250. At this point, the drivers can take a breath as the crews go to work. We're under the halfway break here in the Bud Light 250, and let's take it pit side where all the action is happening and bring in Todd Lewis for the Pinty's Pit Report.
Ils vont passer la Zamboni. Ils vont passer la Zamboni. Ils vont passer la Zamboni.
Changes again, fuel, minor adjustment. The 80 of Donald Teague also pretty happy. They're going to have a look at that right side and examine the bodywork to make sure there's no serious damage. But other than that, some minor adjustments, a little bit of a wedge adjustment right now in that 45 of Will LaRue, but nothing major happening. It's just minor tweaks to go this final dash to the final checkered flag.
Taking a look at the shot from the drone, you can see the damage on the right side, and it is miraculous that both those right side tires are aimed in the same direction for Donald Teague on the 80 car. It's completely caved in between both those tires, but it doesn't seem to have affected them.
Yeah, he's certainly gotten lucky, and yeah, far less has done far worse to many cars in this series as far as adjustments go.
Good look at the Superior Propane, rack.ca, number 84 of Larry Jackson, as he too in for some right side General tires. And again, they all get topped up with some Gulf fuel as well. And they get some minor adjustments. The crew's still working feverishly. They have 5 minutes to make those adjustments before the cars get released back out on track. And we'll take another quick break. As they do, you're watching the NASCAR Canada Series live on Rev TV. And welcome back to Vallee-Jonction, Quebec, a town just outside of Quebec City, as we continue under the midway break here in the Bud Light 250. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me in the booth is Gary Klutz, and Todd Lewis is pit side, and the work continues. There's Dexter Stacy in the Bullies truck stop number 3 as Todd Lewis stands by with the driver who was your points leader coming into this event. Todd?
Definitely not the kind of night that you wanted. Take me through what happened in that collision that's got you still got the crew working hard on your car.
Yeah, we're gonna try to go back on track. I get hit on the wheels and it broke the trailing arm, and then after that the drive shaft broke, and then the tranny also. So the guys are working hard to get back on track. If we can get a couple more points, we're gonna try to go back on track.
Marc-Antoine Cameron, no quit in this 96 team, guys.
You can say that again, and a winner here at Autodrome Chaudiere back in 2023, and he'll come out and try and gain some points, but he's got some of his best races yet to come. GP3R, that 96 is always strong. You know he's going to be solid at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where he has a win already this year, and then ICAR in there too.
Yeah, he's got to put some confidence in that, and it won't be the end of his championship hunt for today, but he's got a bigger mountain to climb than he had before coming into this race.
And if you're the Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington, you came into that break sitting in 5th spot. That's exactly what a veteran like DJ Kennington does. He keeps that car clean and he hangs around, and he's there at the end. He's been fast. We've seen him already this year several occasions where the 17 was the car to beat, and there is the contact between the 2 race leaders at the time, Donald Teach and Matthew Kingsbury, off of turn number 4. But for the overall points championship for DJ Kennington, this is a day that he can really boost his fortunes. There you saw how close he got to the back end of Andrew Ranger in that mishap.
Yeah, he's going to take all he can get here, try and maximize his points, but he's not going to put that car at risk at all.
And now the field is back out on track. You saw a few of the cars getting a push down in the paddock area to get back out onto the track, and that comes at no penalty because it is a break race. NASCAR will give these drivers a quick push to head back out on the track and rejoin the field. So as they get refiled and find their spot for the restart, we're going to take one more quick break and bring you back with more live green flag action here on Rev TV. And there you can see a packed house here at Autodrome Chaudiere for the Bud Light 250 as we bring it to you live here on Rev TV as the field once again moving in line up side by side. Way Donald Teach leads them into turn number 1 and now down the back straight. Teach with making up row number 2, and we should tell you too that the 27 of Andrew Ranger now listed as 1 lap down, so he did get one of his 2 laps back during that caution period.
And here's a great onboard shot with Gannett. You can just see how wild this field is in front of him. He's going to have to be ultra careful making his way back through this field.
Watch his right foot too. There's how he controls the pedals. And he's almost not flat out throughout the field. He's sort of tucked at the back of the pack, so he's minding his P's and Q's just a little bit at this point, so you don't really get the opportunity to open these things up on a tight track like a quarter mile here.
No, when everyone's side by side in front of you, there's no place to go. There's no sense in spinning the tires and using up your stuff. You've got to wait until you have a clear path to make a pass.
And now Donald Teach in the 80 has slid in comfortably at the front of the pack. The 45 of Will LaRue to second. DJ Kennington again continues that battle with Alex Labbé. And it looks like Kennington has found something in the outside groove, and then Alex Labbé comes back as they go side by side. Then rest of the top 5 is made up of the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. So again, another driver who started deep in the field. Kevin Lacroix qualified in 10th in that Valvoline backed entry and now sitting in 5th. So driver who's managed to work his way up through all of the mishaps at the front of the pack and is now ready to flex the muscle.
Yeah, not a surprise that Lacroix is fast. He was so good here last year. Really drove the wheels off the car, so he should have a good car here at the end.
Yeah, came home in second behind Andrew Ranger in the GM Paille number 27, again on board with the 39 of Alex Gannett, just chasing the critical path security number 28 of Ryan Vargas. Will LaRue has closed the gap at the front once again as both drivers up in that outside groove. You can see the door panel pulled back out on the Getawa construction number 80 of Donald Teach. A very clean looking LaRue industrial blowers number 45 of Will LaRue tucked into second. But LaRue has been hesitant to dive to the inside. He really has been making his way to the front by using the outside groove. And now that groove's occupied. So what do? Now you're in a logjam. You can see how tight the battles are around the track. A couple of side-by-side dices deeper in the field as now LaRue starts to take a look to that low groove. He knows that's the only opportunity he's going to have to make his way around the 80, so you have to put some pressure on those General tires. Down on the curbing to the inside, right in front of the 36 of Alex Labbé as LaRue starts to hunt for the race lead.
Yeah, he saw the 36 and the 17 coming there, and he had no choice but to go to the bottom. Otherwise, they were going to occupy the bottom, and he was going to be stuck on the top.
You might be asking himself why he didn't do that sooner, because LaRue pulls alongside the 80 for your race lead as we ride on board with Alex Gannett, as well as Larry Jackson, the Rack.ca number 84, goes for a slide off of turn number 4 and has to gather it back up. That is quite a battle there with 5, maybe 6 cars all involved. You see Simon Dionvien just ahead of Ryan Vargas, Dexter Stacy in there too.
Yeah, if you're Gannett, you're gonna have your eyes wide open there. You see cars 3 wide sideways in front of you.
You're almost ready to jump on the brakes when you need it, and you see them all just scattered out as we continue this battle up front. But we've seen this story play out before. A side-by-side battle, but nobody able to really take charge. And Will LaRue is trying to be that driver. He noses ahead at the start-finish stripe, so the 45 will be credited with the race lead, and not just by a nose now, as he starts to gain that momentum and looks to take over top spot. He'll soon get the clear high, which is the words he'll be waiting to hear.
Yeah, whatever change they made at the break there, that was to get that car to work a little bit better on the bottom, because he knew that the bottom is going to be where you have to make passes today.
So LaRue once again to the inside. Donald Teague will have to slide back in behind. Now Donald Teague is going to change things up. He'll go back to the inside and see if he can hold that car down low and retake top spot, or will he just hold in there and see if he can keep up with the 45, who's really been the car to beat here today.
Yeah, the 45 car looks like the class of the field right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he sets sail and puts a little gap on the 36 and the 80 behind him.
Take nothing away from Donald Teague. Quickest in practice, sat on pole here today. That car has been dynamite as well, but it looks like damage to the right side may be affecting his long run here, with 160 laps in the books of a scheduled 250. So just like that, we're flying through this race. LaRue now all by himself out in front and able to open up almost a 0.6 of a second gap very quickly over the 80 car of Donald Teague, and Teague has some company, and it's Alex Labbe. So Labbe saw the 45 make the inside work around Donald Teague, so now the Lucier sponsor number 36 is moving down low again.
Yeah, and if Labbe believes that his car is as good as the 45, or oh, there we go, he's sideways, he got pinched down a little bit by the 80. He's not going to be pleased about that.
No way. He's been doing some dirt modified racing in the past with Dominic Lucier, who's part car owner on the 36 car, and he used every bit of that knowledge there going into turn number 1. Holding a fancy wheel, I think they call it at that point, as he had to use a little bit of pedaling, a little bit of steering, and hung on to it. But just in behind this battle for second is the 17 of DJ Kennington, who now has Matthew Kingsbury in the Dura King number 9 just behind him. So those two are having a great battle for 4th and 5th.
Yeah, we know that 9 car is fast.
Yeah, so he was the one who went around after contact with the 80, as he was your race leader at the time. And so Matthew Kingsbury has been able to trudge his way back through this field and make honest passes. It wasn't handed to him on restarts. He's had to do this a lot on speed. So now the 45, about a 1.5 seconds, opened up a gap on the 80 car of Donald Teague. There you see your race leader from Quebec City, Will LaRue, who has raced here before, and as a matter of fact did so last year, coming home in 21st position after having mechanical difficulties on the 45 car. So far, so good for that team here today, and the gap now about half a straightaway back to the 80 car of Donald Teague, who has settled in nicely and is able to hold off the 36 of Alex Labbe.
Yeah, Labbe looks like he's struggling a little bit to get that car on the bottom. Keep that car on the bottom. I don't know if he's going to be able to complete the pass on the 80. He's
going to certainly keep trying, as you can see the flame from the exhaust pipe as Labbe is pushing to try and get back on the gas a little bit sooner, get that drive up off the corner. As you can see, 4th, 5th, and 6th all together now on the racetrack as we jump on board once again with Alex Gannett as the caution flag flies once again here in the Bud Light 250, and it is for a spinning Superior Propane number 84 of Larry Jackson. Again, that team coming to Autodrome Chaudiere with a brand new sponsor. Best Buy, you see just behind the 84. That's a 2-year deal for that team, which will help them out for the next couple of years. So caution flag flies. We'll reset the field and bring you back with more green flag action here on Rev TV. And welcome back to Autodrome Chaudiere as we continue under caution. Let's head pit side. Todd is standing by with a driver whose afternoon ended up to be a little bit shorter than expected. Todd?
Maxime Gavreau, who got involved early in some contact, and what finally put you out now?
Yeah, now the engine overheat, maybe indirect something in the front, maybe the shower or something. So now the engine is overheating, so we try to come back on the track, have some data for the next race, but now we're already done.
You guys worked really hard to get you back out there.
Yeah, we worked pretty hard and really disappointed. We have a fast car, top 5 car for sure, so that's sad, but we will come back stronger.
See you back soon.
Yeah, thank you.
And you can hear the revs pick up as the field went through the Pinty's restart zone, and led through there was the 45 of Will LaRue, and he will be the first to see the caution flag wave once again. So we're going to restack the field with Donald Teague sitting in second spot. So we did go back to green, although it didn't last very long. The cleanup crew headed out to the track in the pace car as well. I'm going to restack things, and I believe by virtue of that last caution, the 27 of Andrew Ranger should be back on the lead lap, and that's important to note because there's still a lot of racing left for the driver of the GM Paillet Chevrolet, the number 27.
Yeah, he's going to be happy about that. If he gets this lap back here, that's big for points. He can actually go race now.
So it looks like just a complete restart. LaRue on the outside, and that is the reason for the caution just before our break. The Superior Propane number 84 of Larry Jackson through the Pinty's restart zone we go again, and this time a much tidier start with Will LaRue leading him down the backstretch as Teague has to battle with the Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington.
Yeah, you saw the 36. He's back there a little bit. He was really sideways on that restart there, and he's gathered it back up, but that allowed the 17 and the 74 to get a leg up on him.
Yeah, Ryan Vargas right there too in the critical path security, number 28, having just a dynamite rookie season here in the NASCAR Canada Series, and again, he's seeing all of these tracks for the first time, so he has a lot to learn every single stop of the way, sometimes on limited practice.
Yeah, he's doing a great job here, just keeping that car clean, and clearly as that's how this race is going. That's the name of the game here, is to be there at the end.
Battling with the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury is Ryan Vargas. This is at the front of the pack. Top 3 have stretched out single file, and the side-by-side battle is for 4th place between Alex Labbé and the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. So there you see Vargas and the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. I thought Labbé dropped off a little bit there. It looked like he lost some momentum, but he comes back solid on the inside of 1 and 2. Now he'll drop in behind the Vallee number 74. So maybe some problems on the 36 of Alex Labbé. Keep an eye on that car.
Yeah, if not just handling, he's really struggling.
He's been the one who's been on the inside more than anybody else, so it could just be that he said, you know what, I've abused my tires enough, time to baby them, and we'll make a push for the end. Because you do save a little bit more tire when you use the outside groove compared to the inside one. As you see everybody, as I say that, he dives back down to the inside.
Again, that's the only place you're going to be able to put the car to make these passes, as everyone has such good pace on the outside. Everyone's preferred line is the high line.
We should tell you that Marc-Antoine Cameron, one of those drivers at the back of the pack, so he is back out in this field in the GM Paillet number 96, and he is trying to make some laps and make up as many positions as he can, potentially only one. Maxime Gavreau is out of it, but there you see it is the 96 just ahead of the 47 of LP Dumoulin. So both those drivers several laps down after earlier issues. Ranger now inside the top 10, chasing Dexter Stacey in the 3. Some take a quick look. He's got Simon Dion-Vienne in the Duclos back entry just in behind as well. Simon Dion-Vienne, this is his home track. He's run late models here. He's run trucks as well. The Duclos number 37 just ahead of Alex Gannett in the 39. Ooh, look at Ranger. Just drive it off the banking, trying to diamond that car from the top all the way to the bottom as he hounds the Leland Bullies truck stop number 3 of Dexter Stacey.
Yeah, Ranger's really able to make that high line work so uniquely. He drives it real deep in there, gets the car turned right at the top of the track, and gets such a good drive off the corner.
Will LaRue continues to pace the field out in front, not quite as strong as he was before we went to that last caution, but he's still got a 0.6 of a second lead over the 80 of Donald Teach. And now Alex Guinnett moves to the inside of Simon Dion-Vienne, but the top two are now gapping third place DJ Kennington. And when I was going through stats prior to this race, I was a little bit surprised to see the 17 of DJ Kennington has only had a career best of third here at Autodrome Chaudiere, a track that he's never won at.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think with his number of wins, his number of championships, and his number of years in the series that he's won at every track, but I guess that's not the case.
Not the case. As a matter of fact, in third place in 2015 and again in 2022. Of course, he's already visited Victory Lane here in 2025 at an earlier stop at Riverside Speedway in Antigonish, Nova Scotia. And that was the last time that these cars were, actually no, that was right before they went to the Western Swing. I was going to say it was the last time on an oval. They went west and, of course, raced in Edmonton and Saskatoon. But DJ Kennington solid in Saskatoon as well with the 17 car. And now comfortably inside the top 5. The 45, Will LaRue out of Quebec City, Quebec, ahead of Donald Teach, who also calls Quebec home, Bois-Catel, Quebec, and he's got a beautiful setup for a race shop. A place where he works on those cars and collects his collector cars as well. But Donald Teach, of course, still hunting for win number 2 of his NASCAR Canada Series career, and he's been fast so far in 2025.
Certainly, he's been the fastest guy in practice. He's put it on the pole a number of times. He's got a good car here tonight, but man, that 45 car who's hunting for his first win, he's got a great car.
Yeah, he sure does. It just looks so tidy. Just watch him off the corners. It's not wiggling as some of the other cars are doing. You're into probably the middle of the run now on these tires, and you know what you have the changes worked, because essentially the newness of the right side tires that you put on during that halfway break, that's worn off. So the setup that you have is the setup that you're going to get, and you're either good with it or you're not. And it looks like the 45 team will be good with it because that car's not wiggling like some of the other ones are.
Yeah, he's just got to stay in his rhythm here. He doesn't have to push any harder than he is right now, because he's got to keep in mind there might be a late race restart here that he's going to have to do serious battle in. And as I say that, caution's out.
Yeah, so that's going to evaporate his lead that was built up to about 1.4 seconds at the front of this field. You see the field all wowing up, and we're looking around. It looks like there's a car up in the berm on turn 1 and 2. So that is a big misstep up in turn 1 and 2. And the reason for the caution, we'll get a replay when we come back. You're watching Autodrome Chaudiere here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the Bud Light 250, and a driver we often jokingly refer to as Captain Highliner here at Autodrome Chaudiere has taken that literal as Andrew Ranger is up on the top of the berm in between turns 1 and 2 in the GM Vallee number 27. He's out of the car, so he is okay, and that's the important part, but Ranger is trying to get out without falling down the hill. You see the NASCAR officials helping him down that embankment, but Ranger obviously went for quite a ride here in the middle of 1 and 2. Hands on the hips, disappointed. And again, this is going to have point implications.
Yeah, absolutely. He was third in points there, and he clawed his way back from not being able to refire the car after one of the yellows, and he was back on the lead lap, I do believe, or one shy of it.
Inside the top 10.
And this is just devastating for him.
Yeah, so he had an opportunity to really battle back in the points. Again, came into this one 14 points out of the lead, and he was one of the only drivers inside the top 5 who hadn't had any issues. That driver is now DJ Kennington and Kevin Lacroix, those two of them. So Kevin Lacroix and DJ Kennington both sitting inside the top 5. But, yeah, these are big problems. And now a bigger problem is trying to figure out exactly how to get this car off of the embankment in turn 1 and 2. They have the flatbed out there, and you can see the chain is out, so they're going to try and hook it up and just drag it onto the flatbed. We're under a red flag. It goes without saying, as there's NASCAR officials and cleanup crew all working to get this GM Vallee number 27 off the embankment. Andrew Ranger is okay. That's the important part, but we'll take a break while they work to get that car freed. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on Rev TV. So we continue with the cleanup of the number 27 of Andrew Ranger in the middle of turn 1 and 2, actually high above 1 and 2, so the equivalent of him being sitting on top of the wall, essentially, in the middle of turn 1 and 2 in the GM Vallee number 27. Andrew is out and is okay if you're just joining the broadcast right now. Obviously a little bit frustrated. He's still got the helmet on, so he's willing to jump back in that car and see if he can finish this race. And importantly, because it is a red flag, he's not losing a ton of laps during this cleanup procedure, I guess we could call it, as the car gets put to the flatbed. You can see a lot of dust in the front end. I don't see any wheels pointed in other directions, so the damage doesn't appear to be too bad.
Yeah, I'd like to see a look at the replay if something really broke on that car that led him to end up out there, or if he's going to just hop back in it and, again, try and salvage some points.
Yeah, there's second place, Donald Teague, up until this red flag. There's the 17, DJ Kennington. So, again, he came into this race second in points, 9 points back of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Just behind him is Kevin Lacroix, who had an absolutely disastrous day at Calabogie, where he was out before the first lap was even completed with engine trouble on the 74. So he's still in this one too, bound to gain some points back, because the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron has had huge problems over the course of this day today, and he comes into this period now about 97 laps down.
Yeah, this race is all about salvaging points, and so is the next one. We were speaking in the break there, GP3R. We're going to have a huge number of cars. Again, you've got to finish that race if you want to win the championship.
Including Raphael Lessard, who will be back at Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières. As a matter of fact, he was up until last weekend at Calabogie, was the only driver to strap into a NASCAR Canada Series car and win in his very first outing. Connor Bell did that the last time out, won in his first outing at just 19 years old. So during this break, we have an opportunity to head down, check pit side with your Pinty's Pit Report, and bring in Todd Lewis. Todd?
Well, just checking in with the team and that 27 car, they don't think that anything is broken. Andrew just got way high, way loose, and drifted off into the berm. So he stayed in the car. They're going to check it out and see if maybe he will be able to continue. But again, everyone is focusing on the points battle, as you guys have dictated. DJ Kennington, the one right now, in a good position to capitalize. Kevin Lacroix, not too bad as well. We may see some battles towards the end of this race. Is that 80 car going to start to fade back a little bit, as he did in the first half of this race? Can the 45 hold on? Going to be an exciting finish.
You're not wrong about that, Todd. Absolutely, and we're here for it on Rev TV. Absolutely looking forward to bringing it into you. But yeah, this is the kind of race that DJ Kennington loves when it comes to a points battle. As the 27 heads back to the pit stall, and it looks like Andrew Ranger's going to try and hop back into that one. But yeah, an exciting race, but it's an exciting time with the NASCAR Canada Series as well. The series announcing a brand new sponsor for Quebec races, Princess Auto, coming on board as a series sponsor for the Quebec stops. And it's great to see Canadian companies like Princess Auto get involved in motorsports, and more importantly, the NASCAR Canada Series.
Yeah, these sponsors really drive this series, and it's great to have new sponsors.
Larry Jackson and the Rack.ca Superior Propane number 84 will get the free pass, and so he will head out and tag on to the tail of the field. I believe he should be put back onto the lead lap at that point in the 84. I think he lost one when he went for his spin a little bit earlier on. The pace car speeds up down the back straightaway, heading for pit lane, and that'll put the start back in the hands of Will LaRue as he heads through the Pinty's restart zone. You hear the engine start to pick up. We see the green flag once again, and 2 by 2 in through 1 and 2. Kevin Lacroix really jumping up to the outside in that Valvoline, number 74, battling with the Castrol Edge Dodge, a battle of the oil brands for third spot, as Kennington has the inside in the Dodge, Kevin Lacroix in the Chevrolet upstairs. There's Dexter Stacey, a little wiggle as he battles with Dave Coursol in the 54. He saw the white and blue number 3 and the black and gray number 54. There they are again. But back at the front, single file, and now a three-way battle. This is for third. Alex LeBay goes to the inside. Kennington has Lacroix just in behind, and it looks like the momentum on the outside is too much for Alex LeBay.
Yeah, really heads-up move there by Kennington to get clear of the 74, jump up to the high side and set sail. And that 9 car, he's coming.
Yeah, Kingsbury was so fast, he went for a spin off contact with the 80 of Donald Teege. And you're right, Kingsbury is very much in the mix here now as he works the outside. He's hoping that Kevin Lacroix can clear the 36 quickly. And it looks like the Duraking Chevrolet is going to continue his march towards the front of the field. He's up to the rear corner of the Lucien number 36.
Yeah, the 36 is just trapped there on the bottom. It's pretty rare in this series that we say that you're trapped on the bottom.
That's true. Usually the bottom, everybody's hunting and rooting for it. You saw in Edmonton not too long ago. That was the only way around, and now look at Will LaRue, how high he is up in turn 3 and 4, and that's where we find DJ Kennington and Kevin Lacroix as well. That extreme outer groove is one that is working so well in the later stages of this one.
It's only going to get better and better as the cars run up there, more rubber gets laid down, and you can see it has definitely become the dominant line.
Coming up on 25 laps to go. As they cross the stripe, we will see 25 to go. Next time by, Will LaRue comfortable out in front, 1.2 seconds over the 80 of Donald Teege. And you heard Todd mention it. It's a big question mark. Was that Gavois Construction number 80 up to the task of keeping up to the 45 that has been so good? But it looks like Will LaRue once again just settles in and puts it in cruise control and opens up a gap.
Yeah, the 45 is really in a league of his own.
Cameron just a couple laps away from moving up one position. And that's why they're back out on this racetrack. They knew that Maxime Gauvreau was out in the 97. Cameron's team worked hard. They put the 96 back out. He's running a relatively good pace, but more importantly, he's about to pick up a spot. And there goes the 27, Andrew Ranger. They were right, not really any damage on that GM Paille number 27. So Ranger will be released. He's 17 laps down to your race leader, but he'll be able to salvage some important points.
Yeah, got to be frustrating for the 27. If that car truly was okay, I'm surprised he wasn't yelling, jumping up and down.
Yeah, 20 laps down, I should say, for Andrew Ranger as the 04 Omnifab entry of JF Dumoulin down pit side as well. Look at Kevin Lacroix as Lacroix starts to put some pressure on the 17 of DJ Kennington. Let's check in once again with just about 20 laps to go. We'll check in pit side with Todd Lewis. Todd? Will LaRue now will see some lap traffic just ahead, and that lap traffic is the 27 of Andrew Ranger. Now with a handful of laps to go, we're under 20 to go here in the Bud Light 250. And just ahead of your leader, it might be close enough that he'll get into that gaggle of traffic here on this green flag run. And wouldn't that change the complexity of this race?
Certainly, that'll make things interesting, especially if those lapped cars are up on the high line. The 45 will have to jump down to the bottom in a much slower line.
So Ranger in 15th spot, 20 laps down to your race leader, just ahead of the 45 of Will LaRue, continues to pace the field. He's now 1.6 seconds up on Donald Teach, DJ Kennington, Kevin Lacroix, and Matthew Kingsbury. We talked about how good that Duro King number 9 of Kingsbury was. Seems as though his progress stalled when he couldn't quite get around the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, who actually started turning up the pressure on the 17 of DJ Kennington.
Yeah, and I'll say it again, you know, the name of this race is track position. If you can't pass on the bottom, everyone's up high, you have no option. You can't go higher than the guy in the high line. And
you can try if you're Andrew Ranger, and it doesn't work, as we saw. But Ranger now in 15th spot after getting trapped in that berm in turn 1 and 2. But you're absolutely right. And it looks like Kevin Lacroix is about half a groove lower than DJ Kennington. He just needs to be working right down on that yellow line.
Well, he's got to try something. If he's going to make this pass, he's got to make his car work below the 17.
LeBay is working on the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. Everybody still chasing this driver, though. Will LaRue, a lead of almost 2 seconds, and he'll have 11 laps to go this time past the stripe. Donald Teach comfortably sits in 2nd spot ahead of DJ Kennington. We talked about the jumble in points after today's event. DJ Kennington will be happy to sit there in the Castrol Edge Dodge, just hold off the 74 for a little while. Now let's head back. I think we've got Todd. Let's head back pit side and check in one more time.
Well, we can tell you that the 04 had a problem with that right front. They were tugging on the tire, didn't know if it was suspension related, but that's the problem for JF Dumoulin. And I guess with all the door-to-door action we've seen, not surprising to see a problem with the right front of the car.
So you saw the 10 laps to go. Now fewer than that even, as Will LaRue continues to lay down a torrid pace. 8 laps to go for the driver, the LaRue Industrial Blowers, number 45, ahead of Donald Teach, as he is looking at lap traffic very shortly, but he does have a gap to rest a little bit. He's got a lap down car in between. Is he looking in his mirror and knowing he has that comfortability to ease off a little bit?
Yeah, his spotter's telling him, hey, just cruise here. You're going to be able to complete these 6 laps. We're all praying up here that there's no caution.
Absolutely. Will LaRue doing the same. There he is, the move over flag for the slower traffic ahead, and more importantly, 5 laps to go for your race leader, Will LaRue. In the 45, he's had a dream day so far. Will LaRue qualified in 8th spot, so he did have to come up through the field a little bit, but he did so very, very quickly and smartly as well. He didn't force any issues. He knew how fast his race car was, methodically worked his way up through the field.
Yeah, that car is super clean. There was all kinds of carnage that he could have been involved in, but a very smart race by the 45.
Well, he's got a lot of lap traffic just ahead of him. He will see 2 to go this time by past champion LP Dumoulin and the WeatherTech Dodge just out in front. And here's where the ease off starts for Will LaRue. He doesn't have to force his issue and weave his way through this lap traffic because he's looking at the white flag this time by. 1 more lap to go for the driver from Quebec City, about 40 minutes up the road. He's got a lot of family and friends in the crowd here tonight. And off of turn number 4, Will LaRue will win his first race in the NASCAR Canada Series. 2 races in a row and 2 first-time winners in the NASCAR Canada Series. This time, Will LaRue will find his way to victory lane, and what a day for that car and that team. And this is going to be a huge celebration for this crew. LaRue's going to get the checkered flag as he stops here on the front straightaway and do the victory lap, and you can tell the excitement just oozing out of that cockpit. LaRue has visited victory lane here before behind the wheel of a late model, but this is the first time he's done it in a NASCAR Canada Series car. Again, we talked about how good he was coming into this one. 3 career starts and 2 podiums already in the 45, including a 2nd place finish at Autodrome Montmagny to cap last season. He had his struggles here last year, coming home in the 21st position after some mechanical issues. And now he'll take the Gulf checkered flag. Or no burnout, no donuts, just an old school victory lap. But what a drive for that team. And he made it look easy on a day that a lot of veteran teams, a lot of veteran drivers had trouble.
Yeah, that 45 car was the class of the field. He did such a good job setting that car up, being patient, running that high line, and bringing it home at the end.
So Will LaRue will stop as they get the victory lane set up here on the front straightaway. And we'll be able to jump in and chat with him and the rest of the top 3 finishers in just a moment. But just a dominating performance from the driver of the 45. We should mention that Donald Teague did come home in 2nd spot, and DJ Kennington able to hold off the number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. So Kennington will finish on the podium in the 17 car. So another podium finish, and more importantly, a very, very good point stay. Now we do get some donuts here on the front straightaway. He just wanted the photographers to be available and ready for him. Some donuts and a smoky burnout.
Oh, that's great. He's burning it down.
This is a celebration for Will LaRue here at Autodrome Chaudiere, and listen to this crowd as they show their appreciation. This is what they came to see. Native son, driver from Quebec, just down the road, about 40 minutes down the road in Quebec City, Quebec. They know who he is after watching him race a late model here in the past. And when he hops out, you'll hear this crowd absolutely erupt as he takes his time to find victory lane. There you can see our Todd Lewis waiting for him to get there. And as soon as he's able to unbuckle and get the helmet off, he'll jump out and chat with our Todd Lewis. But you can see he's not giving up that checkered flag all that easily. He's going to take that baby home with him tonight. Probably sleep right beside it in bed. As he hops out, though, listen to the crowd. It is a patos. And they show their appreciation for Will LaRue, and now he jumps down. Todd Lewis is in victory lane. Todd, what a win for a young driver.
He burst onto the scene last year, scored a second-place finish at the Autodrome Montmagny, and turned an awful lot of heads. Will LaRue has been a force in only 4 starts here in the NASCAR Canada Series, and here at the Autodrome Chaudiere, he scores his first series victory, and has a very excited team and has a huge crowd of fans here as well. You said that you thought you had your car set up for long runs. Boy, did you ever. Super strong in this one.
Oh my God, that car was amazing. Like the outside, I could just track off the corner and guys couldn't follow me. I don't know what to say. Like the team did a great job. We did adjustment. It was even better on the second run. Amazing. Like everything went well.
You said you've got a lot of laps here, but not in these cars. You had to find a little bit of finesse with these cars as well, and you seem to have picked it up right away.
Oh yeah, that's my force. Guys, people say that I'm smooth and I save my tires, and it showed tonight. So, whew, that was fun.
Enjoy the celebration. Another first-time winner in the NASCAR Canada Series, Will LaRue.
I think he might be out of breath from his cheering inside his helmet on that cool-down lap, because he really didn't have to work that car too much. He's absolutely right. He was super smooth, saved the tires, and as a driver, you make that stop and you get a better car for the second half. How does that feel?
Oh yeah, you feel incredible, and the way he feels right now and the way he felt in the closing laps, yeah, not a better feeling as a driver.
We'll come back and chat with your second and third place finisher. You're watching Victory Lane here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series on Rev TV. Todd Lewis continuing with the Victory Lane celebrations and standing by with your second place finisher.
You had a fast car. You proved it today.
Yeah, we had a fast car the first segment. We were still in the bottom line. And I know that the second groove and the third groove would be fast later on, but my car was so tight the last segment. Couldn't turn in the corner, so I just saved the car and tried to do the best I can, and then we finished second. You know, the 74 was doing a lot of pressure, but he cleaned the race. And about the 9th car, I didn't touch him. I think he went loose and he hit my door, so I didn't do nothing on purpose.
Another strong finish for Donald Teach. Well done.
It's a strong finish, but it's one step below where he wants to be. So eager to be right here in Victory Lane. But you know what? He takes this as a win, built some momentum. They'll go to GP3R as a team. Alex Tagliani back behind the wheel there. But coming home in second, actually, the 74 did get DJ Kennington just before the line. So Don is standing by with Kevin Lacroix. Good points day for that team today.
It is a good points day for Kevin Lacroix. You got the final podium position right there at the end. Tell me about the move.
Well, it was I was struggling most of the day, really, most of the night, so it's really surprising. But, you know, with the bad luck I had last week and just a rebound like this, we'll take it. You know, luck has to turn around sometimes.
Yeah, you needed to finish like this, didn't you?
I needed to finish like this, and I needed some other drivers to finish like this too. So.
Thanks, Kevin. Well done.
Kevin came into this one in 5th in points after a disastrous day at Calabogie Motorsport Park. So yeah, he's right. He needed exactly this. He needs another one like this at Grand Prix Chaudiere, which will be our next event.
Certainly, he'll definitely be strong there, and he's right. He needed the 96 to finish like he did tonight. He needed the 47 to finish like he did tonight, and the 27.
DJ Kennington, though, a solid run, as we mentioned, inside the top 5. He came home a 1/10 of a second behind the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. It was that close at the line between the 74 and the 17. But a big congratulations goes out to, once again, the 45 team of Will Leroux. Big smiles across the board. And boy, Will Leroux showing just how good he can be here at Autodrome Chaudiere. And he'll be back for a few more races here after running a part-time schedule last year. He's going to do the same here in 2025. But will he bump that up now that he's got a win to his credit? A win always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, win certainly puts that idea in your mind. Hey, maybe we should run the whole season and run for a championship.
You might just do that, and you can see the fans sticking around to show their appreciation. Look at the parking lot. It is absolutely packed. But what a day we had here in Vallee-Jonction, Quebec at Autodrome Chaudiere. We had some fireworks in the early going. There you saw Kingsbury and Donald Teach got together battling for the lead. That's what Teach was talking about when he said, I don't think I got into him, and he might have been right. Looks like Kingsbury got crooked. Teach had a very good car from then on out, but not quite as good as the 45 of Will Leroux, as Kingsbury was able to come right back up through into the top 10 where he finished. But you can see there was battles all over the racetrack, right up until the dual checkers that flew for the driver from Quebec City, Quebec. Will Leroux doing the smoky burnout as the winner here in the Bud Light 250. For Todd and Gary, I'm Dave Bradley. Thanks very much for watching the NASCAR Canada Series here on Rev TV.